Good morning, YouTube. I've had a few inquiries into this little tractor on how I open the hood after I've built this winch assembly for the snowblower. And as you can see, you really can't. You can lift it up an inch or two, but it really doesn't provide access to the engine. And the hood is bolted down. So what I'm going to show you is how I do it. Now, these are the bolts that hold the winch up in place. I loosen one, and then I remove the other one. So this is real time. This is how long it takes me. I take the nut off, pull the bolt, go to the other side. I do the same thing on this side. I loosen one bolt so that the assembly will pivot, and I take the other bolt off. And I'm doing that right now. And it's just, these are just 3/8 carriage bolts, cut to length, just so I don't have so much thread showing. So now I can move this thing forward. And when this slides forward, it does let the hood come up. But really, it's not that much. So what I do again, to work on it, I disconnect the headlights and I remove the whole hood. And I'll show you how I managed to do that. I'll just slip this hood over here, and I'll bring the camera over and show you. So, now I have full access to the engine, assuming I have to do an oil change or I want to service the air intake. But really, during the winter, it's not getting a lot of dust. There's no grass clippings. You really don't have to be in it too often, but it should be easy to get to. So what I did to ensure that I could get the hood open, and I'll try and zoom in here a little bit for you, the hood pivots on this small plastic bar. And let me get in here and point this out. So the hood pivots right here on this little plastic bar. And when you try to get the hood off, normally you have to tilt the hood sideways, put it in on an angle. So what I did was take a small cutoff wheel and I ground, I'm gonna say a 1/16, maybe an 1/8 off of each one. So that allows the hood to still go into position, still tilt, but you don't have to put it in on any type of an angle. So this makes it so that you can get full access to the engine. It's not damaging it. It still stays down. It still stays locked in when you're just using it normally. The other thing I had to do was lengthen this wire, and this is the wire for the front headlights. And I just lengthened it so that it would, when you see yours, you'll see that it's quite close to the headlight, where this connector is quite close to the headlight itself. And there's just no room to reach your hand in there. So by lengthening it, I can do it with the hood still closed. So what I'll do is I'll swing back over and I'll show you putting it back on. And you can see it really takes no time to move the winch assembly out of the way. But it is, this does make it a lot easier to work on. Like I say, this has been a good little tractor. I guess if you really needed to service the air filter in the winter time, maybe it does make it easier to check the oil. But I really take pretty good care of this thing. I don't really abuse it. It doesn't really need that much servicing. So it's a plastic hood, fairly light. So I'll come back into position. So now I have the hood in my hands. I just drop it back in. So the hood is up. I put the hood back down, the hood's in position, and you can see it still locks in. So to work on it again, I just by shaving that little pin a bit on each side, it allows you to pick the hood up and lift it out of position. Now you have full access. So again, all you got to remember is to lengthen that wire so that once you have the hood back down in position, you have enough wire here to plug your headlights back in. So then I can just plug my headlights back in. They're plugged in, hood's closed, move the bracket assembly back into position, put a bolt in on this side, put a bolt in on that side, and I'm done. So I hope this helps. It answers a few questions. I've had some emails. There's just not enough clearance here to get a good lift, and I like being able to see everything. So by taking those two bolts out, the assembly moves forward. The hood does tilt. Unplug the lights. The hood will tilt. You can probably check the oil, no problem. But any other servicing is almost impossible with it. So that's just a small tip for anybody out there that's tried this project. And this still works quite well now. This is the second season with it. It's having no issues. I'll show you another little tip I did. My driveway is paved, and the tire chains tend to tear it up pretty good. So what I did was I made a set of rubber tire chains, and there they are there. And if anybody has any questions on those, I can pass on a little bit of how I made them, but it's a little bit of fooling around. But so far, I've only had it out once. They work quite well. I think they actually work better than the chains because they won't spin on the pavement. But time will tell. We'll see how it works out for the rest of the winter. So that's about it for now. Again, I just have to put these two bolts, one on each side, back in after up in the position, and I'll show you where those bolts are. There's only one in there now, and it's just a question of putting that other bolt in, and you're done. You slide it forward, pivot the hinge or pivot the hood up, and you're good to go. So I hope this helps out with everybody. If you have any more questions, just let me know, and I'll try to pass it along as best I can. All right, have a good New Year.